Mama Tola was the kind of woman no one ever questioned. In the village, her name meant respect. If there was a sick child, she was the first to arrive. If a family had no food, she was the one knocking at their door before sunrise. People said she had a good heart, a clean soul. Some even believed she was protected by God. Every morning, she walked through the dusty paths of the village with a calm smile, greeting everyone by name. Children ran to her. Women trusted her. Even the elders listened when she spoke. Mama Tola was not just a woman. She was a symbol of purity. But no one ever asked where she went after dark. Because at night, Mama Tola disappeared. It started quietly. A few women noticed that her house would go dark earlier than usual. No light. No sound. Yet, sometimes, long after midnight, a faint movement could be seen behind her hut. At first, they ignored it. Everyone has secrets. But then, the whispers began. One night, a young boy claimed he saw her walking toward the forest. Alone. Barefoot. Carrying something wrapped in cloth. He told his mother. His mother slapped him. Never speak like that about Mama Tola, she warned. And for a while, the village chose silence. Until the animals started acting strange. Dogs refused to go near the forest path at night. Goats would cry without reason. And sometimes, just before dawn, a low, distant sound could be heard from the trees. Not a voice. Not an animal. Something in between. Still, no one dared to investigate. Not until the night everything changed. It was Amina who saw her first. She had woken up in the middle of the night, thirsty, unable to sleep. As she stepped outside her hut, she noticed a shadow moving slowly along the edge of the village. At first, she thought it was a thief. But then the moonlight revealed the face. Mama Tola. Her head slightly lowered. Her steps slow, unnatural. And in her hands, something heavy. Amina's heart began to race. This wasn't the woman she knew. Without thinking, she followed. Step by step, keeping her distance, watching as Mama Tola walked straight toward the forest. The same forest no one entered after sunset. The air grew colder with every step. The sounds of the night faded. And then, Mama Tola stopped. Right at the edge of the trees. For a moment, she didn't move. Just stood there, as if waiting. Then slowly, she turned her head. Not fully. Just enough. As if she knew someone was watching. Amina froze. Her breath caught in her throat. Because in that moment, Mama Tola smiled. But it wasn't a normal smile. It was empty. Wrong. And then, without a word, she stepped into the darkness of the forest. And disappeared. Amina didn't follow. Not that night. But by morning. She knew one thing for sure. Mama Tola was hiding something. And whatever it was not meant to be found. Amina didn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that smile. Cold. Empty. Wrong. By morning, she had already made a decision. She wasn't going to stay silent. At first, no one believed her. Mama Tola. Impossible. She's the kindest woman here. You must have been dreaming. But Amina didn't argue. She just waited. And when the sun began to set, she returned, with others. 3 women. Amina. Zainab. And old Kemi, the only one who didn't laugh. I've heard the forest before, Kemi whispered. And whatever calls from there is not meant for us. Still, she came. Because some truths demand to be seen. That night, they hid near the edge of the village, watching Mama Tola's house in silence. Hours passed. Nothing. No movement. No sound. Just when Zainab was about to leave, the door creaked open. Mama Tola stepped out. Barefoot. Wrapped in a dark cloth. Holding something close to her chest. The women exchanged glances. This time, there was no doubt. They followed. Slowly. Carefully. Keeping their distance as Mama Tola walked the same path Amina had described. Straight to the forest. The moment they stepped under the trees, everything changed. The air grew thick. Heavy. The sound of insects vanished. Even their own footsteps felt too loud. Then, they saw it. A faint glow, deeper inside. Flickering. Like fire. Mama Tola walked toward it without hesitation. The women stopped behind a large tree, their hearts pounding. And then, they saw everything. Candles. Dozens of them. Placed in a perfect circle. Strange markings drawn on the ground. And Mama Tola. Standing at the center. She slowly unwrapped the cloth in her hands. Inside was a small wooden bowl. She knelt down. Whispering something. Soft. Fast. Unfamiliar. The words didn't sound human. Amina felt her chest tighten. Zainab covered her mouth. Kemi closed her eyes. Because she understood. This is not a prayer, she whispered. This is a calling. Then suddenly, Mama Tola stopped. Silence. The candles flickered violently. The air shifted. And from the darkness beyond the circle, something moved. Not clearly. Not fully. But enough. A shape. Tall. Watching. Amina's breath hitched. Zainab took a step back. But it was too late. Mama Tola raised her head. And spoke. Louder this time. As if answering something. And that's when Kemi snapped. Stop her, she shouted. The moment shattered. Mama Tola turned, eyes wide, furious, terrified. No, she screamed. But the women rushed forward. Breaking the circle. Kicking the candles. Grabbing her arms. The markings smeared. The air cracked. And the darkness behind her shifted violently. Like something had been pulled back, unfinished. Mama Tola collapsed, screaming. You've ruined it, she cried. You don't know what you've done. The forest fell silent. Completely. The shape was gone. The candles died. And for a moment, everything felt normal again. But Kemi didn't move. Her face pale. Her hands shaking. Because she knew the truth. They hadn't stopped the ritual. They had interrupted it. And some things are far worse when left incomplete. By sunrise, the village already knew. News spreads fast when fear carries it. Mama Tola had been caught. In the forest. Doing something no one could explain. People gathered outside her house. Whispers. Accusations. Fear. She betrayed us. She lied to all of us. This is evil. But no one went inside. Not at first. Until Amina stepped forward. She needs help, she said. But even her voice lacked certainty. Slowly, the door was pushed open. The room was dark. Too dark for morning. and cold. Unnaturally cold. Mama Tola sat in the corner. Still. Silent. Her head lowered. For a moment, she looked normal. Just a woman, broken and ashamed. "Auntie," Amina whispered softly. No response. She took a step closer. "Mama Tola." Then, Mama Tola lifted her head. And everything changed. Her eyes. They weren't the same. Not glowing. Not unnatural. Just empty. Like something inside them had been taken. Or replaced. Amina froze. Behind her, someone gasped. Mama Tola slowly stood up. Her movement stiff. Delayed. As if her body was learning how to move again. "You shouldn't have come," she said quietly. But her voice was wrong. It sounded like hers. But deeper. Layered. Like two voices speaking at once. The room fell silent. "What do you mean?" Amina asked, her voice shaking. Mama Tola tilted her head slightly. Studying them. Not like a person. Like something observing. "You broke it," she said. Before it was finished. A chill ran through everyone. "What was it?" someone asked. Mama Tola didn't answer. Instead, she smiled. Slowly. The same smile Amina had seen the night before. Empty. And then she said. It wasn't supposed to stop. The air grew heavier. Harder to breathe. A child outside began to cry. And Mama Tola turned toward the sound. Instantly. Too quickly. As if drawn to it. Amina stepped back. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Because in that moment, it became clear. Mama Tola was not alone. And whatever had been waiting in the forest had not been left behind. That night, no one slept. Doors were locked. Windows covered. The village, once full of life, now moved in silence. And at the center of it all was Mama Tola. Some said she was sick. Others said she was cursed. But Kemi knew better. She opened a door, she whispered. And now, something is standing in it. Inside her house, Mama Tola sat alone. Still. Listening. Because she could hear it now. Clearly. Not outside. Not in the forest. Inside. A voice. Low. Patient. Waiting. Finish it, it whispered. Her fingers twitched. Her breathing slowed. She tried to resist. But her body didn't feel like her own anymore. Meanwhile, Amina couldn't ignore the fear. She gathered the others again. We need to watch her, she said. Something is wrong. Reluctantly, they agreed. From a distance, they observed the house. Hours passed. Nothing. Until the door opened. Mama Tola stepped out. Slowly. Calmly. But this time, she wasn't heading to the forest. She stopped. Right in the middle of the village. And looked around. As if searching. The watchers held their breath. Then, she spoke. Softly. But the sound carried. Where is the child? Amina's heart dropped. What child? Zainab whispered. But no one answered. Because deep down, they all understood. This was no longer about Mama Tola. This was about what she had brought back. And what it wanted next. Mama Tola smiled again. That same empty smile. And began walking. toward the houses. Slow. Certain. Like she already knew where to go. And in that moment, the truth became undeniable. The ritual had not failed. It had begun. And now, it needed to be completed. The moment Mama Tola asked, "Where is the child?" the entire village felt it. This was no longer fear. This was danger. Amina's mind raced. "Whose child?" Zainab whispered. But before anyone could answer, Mama Tola stopped. Her head slowly tilted, as if listening to something no one else could hear. Then, she turned directly toward one house. Amina's heart dropped. "No," she whispered. "That's Tola's house." Her own daughter. Without thinking, Amina ran. The others followed. Inside the small hut, Tola sat alone, unaware. Humming softly. Waiting for her mother. "Mama said she'll come back," she told Amina with a smile. Amina grabbed her hand tightly. "You need to come with me. Now." But before they could move, the door creaked open. Mama Tola stood there. Silent. Watching. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Tola smiled. "Mama. Don't." Amina snapped. Mama Tola stepped inside. Slowly. Her eyes locked on Tola. Not with love. Not with recognition. But with something far colder. "You left me, unfinished," she said softly. Tola's smile faded. "Mama." The air grew heavy. A strange pressure filled the room. Amina pulled Tola behind her. "You're not taking her," she said firmly. Mama Tola didn't react. She just smiled. And whispered, "I don't need to take her." A pause. Then, "She belongs to it now." A sudden gust of cold air rushed through the room. The candles outside flickered wildly. And for a split second, something else moved behind Mama Tola. Tall. Dark. Watching. And it was staring. Directly at Tola. That night, everything changed. Tola couldn't stop shaking. "She didn't look at me like my mother," she whispered. Amina held her close, but even she couldn't lie anymore. "That wasn't her," Kemi said quietly. "She's becoming a vessel." The word hung heavy in the air. "Vessel for what?" Zainab asked. Kemi didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked toward the forest. For something that was never meant to cross over. Meanwhile, inside her house, Mama Tola sat alone again. But this time, she wasn't silent. Her lips moved slowly, repeating the same words over and over. Not loud enough to hear, but enough to feel. The air inside the room seemed to bend around her. And then, she stopped. Her head snapped upward. Eyes wide. Because the voice spoke clearly now. "You broke it." It echoed inside her. Deep. Cold. "You will finish it." Mama Tola's body trembled. "I can't," she whispered weakly. For a moment, it felt like she was back. Like she was fighting. But then, her expression changed. Her face relaxed. Too relaxed. "You don't have a choice." The voice wasn't just inside her anymore. It was her. Outside. Amina and the others watched from a distance. The light inside Mama Tola's house flickered unnaturally. Then went out. Complete darkness. Zainab stepped back. "We need to leave." But Kemi shook her head. "No." Her eyes fixed on the house. It's not finished yet. And then, slowly, the door opened again. Mama Tola stepped out. But this time, she didn't look confused or broken. She looked certain. And when she spoke, it wasn't her voice anymore. Bring the child. The ritual was calling again. The moment those words left her mouth, bring the child, everyone froze. That was not Mama Tola. Not anymore. Amina stepped back, pulling Tola closer behind her. No, she said, her voice trembling but firm. You're not getting near her. Mama Tola didn't react. She didn't argue. She didn't even blink. She just stood there, staring. Then slowly, she began to walk forward. One step. Then another. Not fast. Not aggressive. But certain. Like nothing in the world could stop her. Stay back. Zainab shouted. But Mama Tola kept coming. The air around her grew colder with every step. The ground beneath her feet felt wrong. As if the earth itself was reacting. Amina's heart pounded in her chest. Think. Think. Kemi, she cried. Tell us what to do. Kemi's face was pale. Her hands shaking. But her eyes, focused. There's only one way, she said. If the ritual was broken, it must be closed. Amina frowned. Closed how? Kemi swallowed hard. By finishing it or destroying it completely. A silence fell. Because both options were dangerous. What happens if we do nothing? Zainab asked. Kemi didn't hesitate. It would take the child. And after that, her voice dropped. It won't stop. Amina looked down at Tola. The girl was shaking, tears running silently down her face. Mama, she whispered weakly. That word. That one word. Made Mama Tola stop. For the first time. Her body froze. Her head twitched slightly. And for a brief second, something changed. Her eyes flickered. Like a struggle. Tola, a faint voice escaped her lips. Amina's heart leapt. She's still in there, she said. But Kemi shook her head quickly. No, don't be fooled. Too late. Mama Tola's body jerked violently. Her head snapped to the side. And then, she smiled again. Wider than before. Unnatural. Creeping. She is weak, the voice said. But I am not. The ground trembled slightly. The wind picked up. And from the darkness around the village, shadows began to shift. Not clearly. Not fully. But enough to be seen. Watching. Waiting. Amina stepped forward. No more running, she said. Her voice steadier now. Stronger. We end this tonight. Kemi nodded slowly. The ritual site, she said. That's where it began, and that's where it must end. Zainab hesitated. You want us to go back there? Kemi's eyes hardened. If we don't. She glanced at Tola. It will come here instead. Amina took a deep breath. Then grabbed Tola's hand tightly. We are going. Mama Tola didn't stop them. She didn't chase them. She just stood there. Watching. Smiling. Because deep down, she knew. They were doing exactly what it wanted. Returning to the forest. Returning to the circle. Returning. To finish what had been started. And this time, there would be no interruption. The forest felt different that night. Heavier. Darker. As if it was waiting. Amina, Tola, Zainab, and Kemi walked in silence, their footsteps slow, careful, afraid. No one spoke. Because deep down, they all knew. This was the end. When they reached the ritual site, the candles were already lit. The circle, restored. Perfect. Waiting. Amina's breath caught. We didn't do this. Kemi shook her head slowly. No, she whispered. It did. And then, a sound behind them. They turned. Mama Tola stood at the edge of the clearing. Still. Smiling. But this time, she wasn't alone. The shadows around her moved. Closer. Taller. Not fully visible. But there. Watching. Amina stepped in front of Tola. It ends here, she said. Mama Tola tilted her head slightly. Of course, the voice replied. Everything ends here. Then she stepped forward, into the circle. The air shifted instantly. Cold rushed through the clearing. The candles flickered wildly. Kemi grabbed Amina's arm. Listen carefully, she said quickly. If we complete the ritual, it will take the child and fully enter this world. Amina's heart dropped. And if we destroy it? Kemi looked at Mama Tola. Then at Tola. Then the vessel dies. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Tola clutched Amina's hand tighter. I don't want Mama to die, she whispered. Tears filled Amina's eyes. But there was no time. Inside the circle, Mama Tola raised her hand slowly. Her lips moving again. The same words. The same chant. The ritual had begun. Again. Decide. Kemi shouted. Amina looked at Tola. Then at Mama Tola. And in that moment, she made her choice. Break it, she said. Kemi nodded. Together, they rushed forward. Zainab kicked over the candles. Amina wiped away the markings on the ground. Kemi shouted over the rising wind. Stop the words. Tola screamed. Mama, please stop. For a split second. Everything froze. Mama Tola's body trembled violently. Her eyes flickered again. Tola, her real voice whispered weakly. Tears streamed down Tola's face. I'm here, Mama. I'm here. The wind howled louder. The shadows around the circle twisted angrily. No, the deep voice growled. This one is mine. Mama Tola screamed. A sound so raw, so human, it cut through everything. And then, Amina erased the final symbol. Silence. Instant. Complete. The candles died. The wind stopped. The shadows vanished. And Mama Tola collapsed. Still. Unmoving. Tola ran to her. Mama. Mama, wake up. But Mama Tola didn't move. Her face, peaceful again. Like nothing had ever happened. Kemi closed her eyes. It's over. Amina stood there, frozen. They had stopped it. They had saved Tola. But the cost was Mama Tola. Or so they thought. Because as they turned to leave, Tola slowly looked back. Her expression, different. Her eyes. Quiet. Still. And for a brief second, she smiled. The same empty smile. And in that moment, it became clear. The ritual had been stopped. But not ended. because something had already found a new home.